Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Campaign Optimization Series. Today's webinar is called From Conversation to Conversion, Why Real Human Engagement is Your Quickest Route to ROI. My name is Claudia Tarico. I'm the editor of Demand Gen Report, and I will be your moderator for this session. All right, so during and after today's presentation, please follow along on social and share your thoughts and feedback. We'd love to, have this conversation continue on Twitter and LinkedIn, so please use the hashtag #COSeries. All of our Twitter handles are right here on your screen, so we look forward to connecting with you on social. You'll also actually be able to tweet directly from within the On24 platform. There's actually a Twitter widget right on the left-hand side of your screen, so you can do it right there. And if you haven't done so already, please join more than 60,000 subscribers to our weekly newsletter by subscribing to Demand Gen Report today. I just wanted to go through a quick housekeeping slide here. For today's presentation, we'll be using the On24 platform. And during and after the session, you can access all the information that you need on this platform toolbar. So like I mentioned earlier, you could tweet directly from within the platform using the Twitter widget on the left-hand side of your screen. We also encourage you to ask our presenters questions, and to do so, all you have to do is click on that Q&A widget at the top right corner of your screen. Today's session is slated to run about 25 to 35 minutes with an additional 10 to 15 minutes of Q&A right after. So please submit those questions using that widget at any time. The session is also being recorded, so all of our attendees will receive an archived link to the presentation to go back and review and even share with colleagues. We also welcome you to let us know how we're doing so we can continue to improve the level of value we provide our audiences. So at the end of this session, please take our quick survey. It'll automatically launch when the sessions end. So you could also actually pull up and complete the survey at any time during the webinar by clicking on the survey icon that's circled here at the bottom of your screen. So before signing off today, please be sure to fill out that quick questionnaire. All right, now I'm very pleased and excited to introduce our featured speakers for today, Mark Kilens and Kate Adams of Drift. Mark leads content and community at Drift. His team teaches people how to transform how businesses buy from businesses with conversational marketing. He previously was VP and founder of the HubSpot Academy, and he actually built the HubSpot Academy from the ground up, which is really cool. And in doing so, he educated millions of people and created a best-in-class hub of marketing and sales education. As the VP of Marketing at Drift, Kate Adams is passionate about aligning marketing and sales and product teams in order to create fully integrated marketing campaigns across all platforms to maximize both growth and revenue. She strives to bring businesses and brands to life in the hearts and minds of prospects and customers by creating and delivering valuable, compelling content for each stage within the customer lifecycle. So we're in very great hands today. And without further ado, I'm going to pass things over to Mark and Kate to kick things off. All yours.
Thanks, Claudia. Kate, what's going on?
How are you, Mark?
I'm doing well.
It's good to be back on the webinar game with you.
I was just going to say that. We haven't done one of these in a couple months.
I know. You've been busy with little Theodore over there with your parental leave, so congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. I mean, Henry, he's what, like 2 years old now?
He's going to be 2 next month. Hard to imagine. He'll be having his second birthday, first one social distance.
Yeah, yeah. I hear you. We were doing some family social distancing this past weekend. It's hey, at least everyone can get together and see each other.
It's true.
Kate, I'm so excited about this webinar because of actually the second headline, the subheadline. Why real human engagement is your quickest route to ROI.
Yeah, love it. I love that. So without further ado, Mark, let's take the can off this thing and let's go. So Claudia already did an amazing job at introducing both you and I, but let's talk about what we're going to cover today. So I think I'm going to kick things off. We're going to talk about B2B marketing and how it's broken. Then we're going to go into removing the friction from the buying journey, how you can actually do that. And then you're going to give us a sneak preview, right? Forward look at the brand new masterpiece that you've got going with the Conversational Marketing Blueprint. And then also then enabling conversations at every stage in the buyer journey. And then we'll sum it up at why immediate buyer engagement has a higher ROI.
I love it.
So let's kick it off.
The whole webinar too it's so relevant to today's world we live in now, Kate. Going from this like hybrid in-person digital experience to basically all digital.
Yeah, everybody's got all their eggs in this digital basket because that's where we all are right now. So yeah, I think this is a perfect time to talk about exactly how do you do it. And the other thing that's interesting here is like we're talking about conversations, which most folks don't actually think about from a digital perspective. I think before this, you wouldn't really think, oh, we can have this conversation and then my mind would immediately jump to digital. But that's the reality. That's the reality we're in right now.
True. So is something broken, Kate?
Something's broken, and it's right here. It's B2B marketing. Hopefully you're picking up on the imagery here. It's shattered. B2B marketing is broken. And so let's talk about why. Raise your hand, right? If you're on this program right now, I don't care if I can actually see you or not, but raise your hand. I'll know in my heart and in my mind that you're actually doing it. If you've got a page on your website that looks like this, right? And we've all seen it. It's that amazing form, right? And so everyone has a form on their website. And so one of the things that I would make sure that I'm being super clear about, when I'm saying B2B marketing is broken, it is not the fault of the marketer, right? It's not our fault. Mark, we're not bad people, right?
No, I don't think so at all. I hope not.
Yeah, we're not bad people, but really why B2B marketing is broken is because of this. This quote from my old friend, Eli Goldratt, which is a total lie. I do not know Eli, but I'm sure he is a great guy. But it's Eli's quote here, which is, show me how I'm measured and I will show you how I act, right? And how I behave. And so really, so not the fault of the marketer. No marketer thinks it's a great idea to have somebody fill out 10 fields of information just to start a conversation with you, right? Nobody thinks it's a great idea to ask for your firstborn social security number just so that you can have somebody call you back on the other end, right? But the truth is that a long, long time ago, before most of us were ever even in marketing, folks around an executive table were thinking about marketing's great. I love the stuff that they're doing, but how do we actually measure it? How do we know what good looks like? How do we know if they're meeting their goals? And so it was decided a long time ago to go measure marketing based on the number of marketing qualified leads, right? Or MQLs that marketing actually generates. And so what that has led to is a process that looks similar to this one, right? Which is just completely full of so much friction around this whole thing. So somebody lands on your website, you've done all of the hard work to get somebody and bring somebody to the website, which, Mark, you and I both know that's hard. That's hard stuff there for sure, right? Bringing people in there.
Yeah, no, and today we're vying for so much attention, or everyone is trying to get someone's attention. So getting someone to the website now today is probably harder than ever before.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so hard. And so you've done all of this work to get somebody to your website. And then finally you get them there and you are completely reliant on this call to action, right? And the call to action is behind the form. And so then you move from form and then you fill out the form and then you're going to get so many different nurture emails and phone calls all at the end so that hopefully you can get them to convert. right? You can actually get them to have a conversation with you. But that's just full of friction and quite frankly, frustration, right? There's nothing more frustrating than after my day of Zoom meetings gets over, Mark, and I go check my email and it's like follow up, email, all these things, right? And I'm just like delete, trying to get down to inbox 0, which I'm not sure if I'll ever get to or not.
It's optimized for the business because we focus, to your point, on the metrics the business cares about, not what the buyers, the customers care about.
Exactly. Money. So let's talk about it.
I mean, Kate, the thing that drives me insane too as a marketer, and I'm sure as someone who does demands. So Kate does all of these great things to help the content that the teams that I oversee create. Her teams are getting it out to people. She's doing all these amazing things. So together we work hand in hand. We're spending money on content. She's spending money on programs. She's spending money on channels. She's spending money on all these things. And today, Kate, the whole point of it is to get someone back to the website. And what you just showed was illustrated, I think, by this photo the best. What do you think?
Yeah, it's 100%, right? And so imagine back in the day when you could go to a store, right? Back in the day when you could go to the mall. Imagine you walk in Apple store and this is what it looks like. I mean, that's what our websites actually look like, though, right? If you were going to translate what we're doing with our websites to what we're doing to like in an in-person experience, that's what it would look like.
100%. And we're creating this distance from us as people who want to help these buyers and customers. And more than ever before, today, like it's imperative that you make this buying experience more human and helpful, which really is going to help you get a higher ROI. So Kate, you've pulled together some of these great examples of businesses that are doing this removal of friction, taking away this annoyance, this I would call it almost anxiety from the buyer standpoint. And some of these are actually super interesting. I think we should talk through a couple of these.
Yeah, let's do it. I don't know if any of you actually recognize any of these logos. That's sarcastically, because many of these are unrecognizable. I mean, Mark, let's just talk about Facebook, right? Facebook is having a heyday right now, right? Because people are like dying for human connection here, right? We're all in our houses. Usually you and I would be 2 feet from one another in a webinar studio talking through this together in the same place right now, but we're not, right? And so Facebook, what have they been able to do? Like, it's amazing how I can see all of my friends' kids, how I can see how everybody is doing their own thing in their own backyard, what they're cooking for dinner, right? Because Facebook has removed the friction from connecting with people.
Great example. I'll use Netflix. Imagine trying to go to the movies today, Kate.
Yeah. Who knows when that will happen again?
Man, I mean, you're talking about a foresight, 20 years into the making.
Yeah.
Netflix. I mean, look at the last one. Look at Peloton and gyms.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and look at these folks. Not only have they removed friction, but they are in the digital game, right? Like these are all digital players in this space. And so right now we are all becoming digital players in this space, right? Like even if you're selling a physical product, you have to maximize and optimize right now from digital. Like think about how even like the Targets of the world, right? They never imagined right now that they would have completely flipped their business model on the head, and now they are actually doing so much of their business, like the majority of their business is being done online through the app. I mean, it's amazing, but like that is the new reality we're in. But these folks were leading that space well before we'd ever at least I had ever heard the word coronavirus.
I agree. And all of these are trying to build like a relationship or a connection. Like your Facebook example is the greatest one, right? Like a deeper connection with your family. I think that's everyone who's in B2B marketing listening. That's the goal, right? Today is like to build these relationships, but you have to do it, like you just said, in the digital online type of world. And the crazy thing, I think is actually illustrated on this next slide, Kate, pretty well, is the relationship building is a lot of the times predicated on how well your website is set up, your content. But now what we're saying is it's more important than ever to make sure the ways in which you can engage with people is like flawless. Like there's no friction. It's like perfect to them, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. I think not only does it have to be flawless and as close to perfect as possible, but I mean, just look at this stat here, Mark, in terms of 82% of the buyer's journey is done before you actually ever speak to someone. I mean, that just says right, like straight up that not only does it have to be flawless, but I don't care. I've worked with a ton of really talented web development, UI, UX people along my career, but that's hard to do. I mean, UI, UX patterns. Like I've gotten into. I don't know if you've ever sat through, a user study and seen it on the back end, how people are actually using something. It always ends up that somebody finds a way to go use something or navigate somehow that I never, ever, or that we never, ever imagined that they would.
Agreed. 100%. I think that's the beautiful thing around what we're going to get into now, which is how does a marketer today, Kate, actually bring back the humanity into marketing, like making it feel more authentic, more personal. I would call it even more transparent than ever before. Because like you said, the form, you fill out the form, you don't really know what's going to happen next to your information, to who's going to follow up, when they might follow up, if they're going to follow up. Like there's a lack of transparency and authenticity with that whole experience. And you're also just missing out on conversion opportunities. We have some stats coming up that are going to show how many conversions you're probably missing out on.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's scary. It's frightening, right? And I think now more than ever, and I know that everybody's tired of this term, but like as people are looking for connections, as people are looking for to be connected to humans and help, right? This is so important, right? That marketers really want to get back to putting the buyer, the customer, the human at the center of their strategies. Super important.
And guess what? This quote and this research that we're referencing on this slide was done pre-COVID.
Yeah. It would be amazing to go revisit that now. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and then that stat you shared about 82% of it's done, the buyer's journey is done before they talk to someone, they consume at least 4 pieces of content. I think, Kate, our job as marketers now is to guide people to these different points of content. So one thing that I actually recently posted on LinkedIn, and it was part of this other conversation I was having actually with someone at Uberflip. We as marketers today, and I want to talk to you about unpacking each of these, we as marketers need to start first with the who, the customer, and then start to go deep into each 6 of these things as it relates to increasing the ROI and increasing conversions through conversations. Like, unpack number 1, though, for us.
Yeah, I think, there's like the old golden rules of marketing, which is like the right person, the right message to the right person at the right time. But you have no idea what the right message is or what the right time is until you know the right person, right? And everything centers off of starting what we're calling starting with who, or knowing your customer, right? And even those customers and those prospects, you can segment them in a million different ways, right? Maybe you segment them by level because they have they care about different things, right? Whereas like a CMO is going to care more about overall customer experience, whereas like somebody in my seat who heads up demand gen is really caring about building pipeline, right? Pipe generation, because that's the function that I'm there to serve, right? And so you would message completely different knowing the differences of those two things that we care about, right? So I think everything really starts with who are you hitting, because then you can develop the right message that will resonate with that person. Tell me about what's know your friction. How do I know my friction?
It's how you're engaging with the who now, like those people.
Yeah, I love it.
I think it's that. I think it's also like, as a marketer, you can ideally do some auditing of your website. You can look at your conversion paths. You can look at your ads. You can look at that whole experience. And you could also, Kate, you run actually the BDR SDR function. It's on the marketing team. Like you should look at that. I'm assuming, not assuming, I know for a fact that you're obsessed with how that experience is once someone talks to someone, either through chat or a Zoom, when that SDR is having that first conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. We're maniacal about that. Even we have CDRs, and those are frontline folks who are just sitting on chat for us all day, and they're talking to people. And we think about three key things for those folks, which is like, how have you understood what the pain of that person is? How are we getting to know this person? Then how are we making it clear that we can provide a solution if we can? By the way, if folks have pain with something that we can't solve, it is very important that we are transparent about that too. That like, hey, sounds like what you're dealing with isn't something that we can really help you with. Sorry, but like, if you have other pain in these other areas that we do help solve, we're very transparent about that too. But how are you understanding pain? How are you making it clear that we have a solution and can provide a solution to that pain? And then how are we just adding value, right? Those three lenses in terms of the CDR experience, we're constantly looking to improve it iteratively, week over week.
I love that. Pain, solution, value. And then the data is kind of like the output of you obsessing over the first two. It's like what you said in the beginning, you flip it. Instead of obsessing over the data, you're obsessing over the person and the experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Channels are so important.
Yeah, exactly.
Channels are really important too, because you can learn a lot about the person based on the channel that they might be coming from, right? Somebody who comes to us directly from a branded organic search is gonna be pretty different than somebody who is converting on one of our Instagram ads for one of the amazing books that your content team wrote, right? Their level of awareness of us is very different. And so like those channels, understanding those channels is super important.
Conversations. We'll talk more about this, but this is truly the conversations that you are having with people to people. So like, person to person conversations, but it's also conversations that are happening through your website. So through like chat bots and other things. I mean, you might need a tool, right? Maybe a quick plug, Kate, for Drift, but like there are ways you can glean a ton of information and insight from like looking at conversations a person's having with a customer, a person's having with one of your chat bots. So much stuff that you can go back and use in your channels, use in your website. You said messaging before, so much.
Yeah, there's tons. I just did a whole webinar just on this in terms of all of the intelligence, because I think now more than ever, you need intelligence. Your business is changing literally by the week. We can see changes and shifts in our business by the week. And so there is so much intel in all of the conversations you're having, not just with chat and chat bots. We want you to have those things, great, but also like in the phone calls, in the meetings that your sales reps are having, in the reviews that people are leaving on websites about your solution. Like all of those things is the market telling you and informing you, and you need to be able to leverage that to get it. Tell me about binging. I know I am binging lots of things right now, too many carbs, too much Netflix, but tell me about how do I know what's bingeable, Mark?
So yeah, there's something about this one that you might not think about as you just read, like, know what's bingeable. Right now, some of your potential customers might not have the means to buy your product / solution, right? The budget, the timing, etc. How do you keep that engagement going? How do you keep that like brand top of mind for them, still building trust, still adding that value, like you said, still being helpful, empathetic? So looking at your content and your content experience as a thing that's really aligned to your customers' pains, to what they care about, that's also like part of your like brand and DNA, knowing like what offers are people consuming and always trying to give them the next thing to watch. You and I talk a lot about this, right? Like, what's the next thing? What's the next thing to watch or read or take or sign up for, etc. That's kind of what I mean by bingeable.
Yeah. No dead ends, right? We talk a lot about what's the next best action. Great. So I don't care about just the one CTA. The one CTA is super important, but what's the next one? What's the one after that? Where are we going from here?
Love it. All right. So let's start to get into some tactics. I told you we had some stats though, Kate. This is the fact though. If you do this audit, right? Going back to number 2, know your friction. And you're secret shopping your website, secret shopping your buying experience, you might be one of these 9 out of 10 people where like the business, your own business, maybe didn't get back to you within 5 minutes. And Kate, why is this so important, the 5-minute rule?
I forget the exact stat. It's a Forrester stat, but it's something like 75% of deals are going to the company that responds first. Right?
Yeah.
Because in a world where software is everywhere, where what Mark Benioff said years and years, tens of years ago is now true, right? Software has eaten the world. And so like just in MarTech alone, the MarTech landscape came out last week, 8,000 tools, Mark, 8,000, right? So that's why I think there's only so many competitive differentiators you have. I'll tell you the best one that you have, the best thing that you have complete control of as a competitive differentiator is your experience. And you can win on experience every single time. And to me, this is all about the experience. Are you going to show somebody that they matter to you or not? Right? That their business, that they as a customer, that the pain that they have matters to you or not.
And like in today's world, that matters more than ever before. If you don't get back to someone, that might be okay, Kate, on this next stat, as long as you set that expectation. Yeah. I mean, this is frightening, right? So not only have you done all the work to get the traffic to your website, you've done so much work, the team's labored hard, put in the hours, the blood, sweat, tears, whatever analogy you want to say about it. But you've done all of that work, and then you finally got them to convert, which is like the average there is only like 3.5%. So you get that finally that 3.5% to convert. And then after all of that, like we just don't follow up. Like I have a little bit, like I am actually less likely that somebody actually will get a response to me at all. That's crazy. That is crazy. It's not good. It's not good. So like, again, we're trying to show these stats to you folks so you can understand the gravity that's in play here, especially when you're like trying to like do anything you can to turn someone's visit to your website into revenue. And then one last thing, Kate, we do this study every year. I can't wait to see actually this year's results coming up in July-ish. Like this is crazy. Like look at the top 2.
Yeah. Can't find information and the site is hard to navigate. And again, this is not like your site is hard or you have terrible UX, and maybe you do, right? But this is not that case. It's just that everybody navigates and thinks very differently. And so we put things in a box and said like, okay, this is the website that will appeal to every single person who we may ever do business with ever. But the reality is all of those people think very differently and they have different pain. And so like you can try to expose everything, right? But then you end up with so many companies have this like the nav that's like 50 links deep and it's so hard to find it, like, right? And so like, okay, so how do you do it? Do you show less? Do you show more? What's the right balance, right? And so, yes, sites are hard to navigate because maybe you're not the exact person that they designed it for, but you have pain that you can help solve, right?
So Kate and I have the solution for each of these different things. The 5-minute response time you want to be under, the always follow up to anyone who is wanting to talk to you, and this last one around making sure your website and website experience is easy and frictionless for the person who's visiting the website. We have the solution, Kate. It is
that your number one goal as marketer, listen, you're going to think we're crazy, but your number one goal as a marketer needs to be to start conversations, not generate acronyms to put in your acronyms, not generate MQLs to put in your CRMs, right? Because that doesn't help. Data records aren't helping you. Conversations are what are propelling your business forward.
And Kate, do you want to just quickly walk people through how, for example, you have someone on your team named Tim. He manages all of the conversational experiences with the chatbots on drift.com, how he uses this, and then maybe how one of your CDRs, Tate, would use this, because it applies to both the marketing side and the sales side, both the chatbot side and the live chat side. It applies to everything.
Yeah, sure. So this is the framework that you and your team created, which is great. And so we put this into practice all the time, which is first, let's engage somebody. So let's create an experience that is actually engaging, that actually makes you want to engage with it, right? So Tim, who runs Drift for Drift, is always thinking about, how do I create openers that are engaging and want to make you want to start a conversation with us, right? A big part of engaging is understanding that person, right? How do we understand or show that we understand that person? Whether that's through the use of personalization, whether that's through identifying maybe potentially the industry that these people are in, right? Identifying the industry and showing a proof point that we have in that industry. But showing that we understand them. It could also be, Mark, at least understanding where they came from, right? And what they're here for. If you're here to register for a webinar, we're going to make that happen for you as quickly as humanly possible, and then save our other questions for later. Let's help you complete the task at hand. And that's more on the follow-up, which is recommend, right? So now I've engaged you. I created an experience that is engaging and that you want to actually participate in. I've shown you that I understand your needs and understand where you're coming from. And now I can make a recommendation based on what I know about that, right? Which is similar to, you asked me about how does Tate actually use that? It's the same thing, right? How does Tate actually engage somebody, identify pain, help them understand that we have a solution that maps perfectly to that pain and that we can help them with, and then make a recommendation on what we think the right path is so that we're being clear and that we're adding value, right? That's the same exact framework we talked about with our CDRs as well.
I love it. I think you explained it perfectly. The crazy thing, folks, is if you are using, and I'm guilty of this, Kate is guilty of this, if you're using what Kate showed in the beginning, that CTA to landing page to form to thank you page to email to lead routing, etc. process, you can't actually do this, have this conversation, be this more personalized, empathetic, create this more personalized, empathetic marketing experience at all. It's not possible, Kate, right? Because it's so one way versus two way.
A form can't do that, right? A form is not engaging. We have stats today that show that 81% of tech buyers, when they are confronted by a form, will just walk in a different direction, right? And so a form also can't be personalized. It can't help show that you understand the person that you're asking to fill it out. You're treating everybody the exact same way.
And the form can't. And this is the crazy thing with this framework as well. There's some details we should unpack a little bit. The form can't help that person understand more about you. we'll show you some examples, but like there's a response that can happen before you ask the next question. Our form is just question, 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 question. With a more conversational experience, you can ask a question, get their answer, respond to that, and then maybe ask another question, to Kate's point about this deeper understanding of intent and interest and motivation, to understand their pain before you go off and just recommend something. Like there's no way you could do that with probably the tools you're using right now on your website to try to get more conversions. So Kate, this blueprint launched, I don't know, maybe 12, 14 months ago, something around then. We were making a major update to it. You and I have talked about this. Do you want to give people a sneak peek?
Yeah, this is exactly, I think that's what the people are here for. They want to know. They want exclusive content. Don't just give them everything that we're giving everybody else.
All right. So the blueprint right now, you can go check it out if you want. I would explain it like this, Kate. You can, well, I guess you can still go to the grocery store. Yeah, you can still go to the grocery store. You go to the grocery store, and all of the items you could select, all the different, food, the types of food, it's not organized. It's like, hey, just cheese is in one spot, cheese is in another spot. You got steak all floating around. It's very unorganized. There's a couple of things that, are organized, like cold food, like perishable food, boxed food, canned food, right? Like there's like some things that are staple that are like, organized, obviously prepared food, and that's how it is today. With the new blueprint, it's actually organizing all of the elements that go into it into logical places so you can find things quickly and make delicious meals quickly from these ingredients. So,
yeah, love it. That's a great analogy. I don't know if I've heard you use that one before.
Sneak peek. Let's go through it. The first level now of this blueprint, Kate, is engaging. And we recommend, if you're thinking about how to get more conversions through conversations on your website, it's just, you start right here. It's like, who are you trying to engage with? Well, Kate, it's website visitors. Where are you engaging with them? Just your website. And then the pages, Kate. Let's double click on the pages though, because this is probably the most complicated out of each three of these elements. And we have an example for each level of the blueprint now. But like, Kate, talk to me about the pages. As it relates to having conversations with people. How would you recommend people think about that?
Yeah, I think it talks about from what page somebody's on, you can understand what they're trying to do, right? So somebody who is trying to register for a webinar versus somebody who's on our pricing page versus somebody who is on our integrations page all have very, very different levels of intent, right? Whereas like somebody who's attending that webinar, right? Maybe it depends on what the webinar is about, right? So you can't just make broad generalizations about all webinars, but somebody who's on one of our webinars just that maybe talks about, hey, how do I really do this doubling down on digital thing, is going to know a lot less about drift, more than likely know a lot less about drift than somebody who's on our pricing page. Because I don't know about you, Mark, but I don't go to pricing pages and look at things unless I'm pretty serious, right? Like I don't really care how much. I'm not keeping an index of the cost of things that I don't care about, right? Versus like somebody who's thinking about integrations, like that's also pretty serious. Like now you're trying to figure out how can this work within your current environment, right? And that's a pretty serious indicator as well.
Love it. So at the end of the day, level one is about engaging more visitors to generate more sales qualified leads. You're engaging, you're understanding more about them. You could think of it as qualifying if you want, and you're recommending the next best action for them and delivering on what you promised them. So if they went to the webinar page and they want the webinar, share the webinar with them, but then also, again, try to continue the conversation, give them the next thing, keep it going. So, Kate, an example, this is actually the homepage, and I like this example for a couple of reasons. One is this is unknown visitors. So if you remember back to my other slide, the first one was like, who are you engaging with? Known visitors, unknown, returning, right? So this is just unknown visitors. And if you look at it, it's around welcome to or the bot is saying, welcome to neuroscience. How can we help? Right? Because it doesn't know too much about you. But if you go to the next one, Kate, look at these interesting options that, again, a form could never do. And would you ever have a form on your homepage either? Like, what's your take on this?
Yeah, I think this is one. No, you never would put, I don't know. Maybe some people have a form on their homepage, in which case, but I don't think that's the best foot forward, right? Yeah. Your homepage is, what you're trying to do is you put your best foot forward. And I think you can do most people can do a heck of a lot better than a form. And so like, what I love about this is it's just super clear, right? I'm at your homepage. Your homepage is, I think our friends at Unbounce, I did a webinar with them a couple weeks back. She said it great, right? It's Grand Central Station. You have people coming to your homepage. Maybe it's where they go to log into your app. You got people coming to your homepage to just consume content. You got people coming to your homepage because maybe they're investors of your business. You got people coming to your homepage because maybe they heard about you from word of mouth, but really have no idea what you do, right? And so like all of these people coming in a very different way. What I love about what Narrative Science and the folks here are doing is they're making it super simple. What are you here for? So that we can get you down the right path.
In this example, and I completely agree, in this example, they select the first option, which then brings them to this experience, which is all about connecting that person's desire or fulfilling their wish, I should say, about speaking with someone in sales, about how Narrative Science can help with a human. Because look at what happens in this experience, Kate. It goes from like the Narrative Science bot to a human instantly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The handoff is so seamless, right? And that's because we want to just make sure, because the bot actually qualified, right? It qualified. It's like, hey, what do you want to do? Because we don't want you to have all these conversations with people that, one, maybe aren't ready to have a conversation, or two, like you have a self-service flow to help those people out. We don't want to waste your time to have these conversations. In this example, right, we're setting them up for success, which is like, hey, here's a good person that you need to be talking to right now.
Love it. Level 2. I mean, this is huge. I bet a lot of people listening right now are doing account-based marketing, account-based sales, something like that. This is level 2. Once you have level 1 in a good spot, you're engaging with the vast majority of people, or you're giving them the option to engage with you across all of your website, and you're doing it in a way that's specific to the page, to Kate's point. Now it's about targeting a bit better. And most of us who are selling to businesses where the purchase, the product is we call it considered purchase. It's a high dollar amount. You got these ideal customer profiles. And Kate, you deal with this right now, right? Like these ICPs that you either know or you don't know, and you're using a myriad of channels and offers to go after them. Like, can you talk to us about this?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the thing is, Mark, I think I know a ton of people are moving to account-based marketing. And the thing that's really interesting about it is that there's so many different flavors of all of these different channels. But I think one thing that's pretty fascinating to me is that it's all about efficiency and how you can be the most effective as humanly possible, right? So it's like, okay, my ideal customer profile is this. So I don't have to go hunting and like have this gray understanding of who the right customer is that I should be targeting. I can really isolate it down and like really then start to like figure out exactly where those people are hanging out, exactly where those people, whether that's digitally or back when people used to hang out in different places other than their home, right? in person, right? And so thinking about that from like, where do these people go for information? Where are they going for to learn? Where are they looking? What content do they love to read, right? And so from there, it's like, I get the where, which is identify my channels. And then I say, when I think like, okay, what do they like? What do they appreciate? What books do they like books? Do they like webinars? Do they like podcasts? Where are they getting their information? So that then I can start to align key offers focused right on those people.
This is all about pipeline. Like the first one is like, meetings, right? Getting more conversations to get to meetings. That's the way I think about it. This is about like really making sure that you're increasing your conversion rate of these ICPs when they come to your website. To your point, Kate, you get them to your website, highest conversion rate possible when they come to the website.
Love it.
And an example, let's show the example. Look at this. I went to this website this morning, Kate, Lessonly, which I know is a Drift a customer. Sorry, not customer. Drift is going after us as a customer. I'm a ICP of Lessonly. Look at this. Look how good human first this experience is. Welcomes me. It's from a real human. This is not a chatbot. There's a real human. I've been to this website a couple times asking me if I need help with anything, right? Super personal. And I think the other way to think about this, Kate, is getting more ROI from your marketing investments. Like you're spending all this money, like you were just saying, on these channels. I think if you use a more conversational experience, you could probably get more dollars from that spend, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. For sure. I think, and that's really key, right? Because if we can increase, if you've done all the hard work to get, and especially with ABM, right? You've done all of the hard work, right? I know the team at Lessonly, Ben runs demand gen over there. He does an amazing job, right? He's done the hard work, Mark, to get you to the website. So now what Ben needs to do is to do the hard work to get you to convert, to get you to start a conversation. And so the more marks that he can get on those same dollars spent, man, like ROI goes through the roof right there, right?
I love it. He's doing a good job of engaging me, doing a better job of targeting me, back to the website. And again, like you said, making sure that the experience is flawless. And then ideally, Ben is trying to accelerate me to the right solution, trying to help me to the right solution. So he accelerates his time to revenue. This is all about like, how quickly can I take someone who's interested in our product solution, getting them to the point of buying? And this is where I think you got to think about buying teams, Kate. There's so many people from a buying team coming to the website, different parts of the buying journey. You might have different solutions. How do you orchestrate all that together so you get to revenue quickly?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing about acceleration here is like that is a key value proposition about why so many people are moving towards. There's two things that I think that are fundamentally like the two big benefits on ABM, which is the deal size tends to be significantly larger, right? And the sales cycle length is significantly less, right? And the reason for that is because those demand units have gotten so much bigger. So it used to be that maybe you only had to really engage with like 2 people in an organization to have a buying decision take place. But I think as people have bought more and more software, more companies have seen their bills, their costs go on the rise, right? And so now there's more people than ever in these decision-making processes, right? And we're trying to get to alignment, but really there's a lot of approvals in the process now too. And so because those have gotten bigger, the process has gotten longer. So we're trying to shrink that back down, which is like here, this is, I don't know of a form that could actually not only generate an MQL for me, but at the same time generate an SQL, because that person literally moves from MQL to SQL in one single session, because they start the conversation and then they can leave with the meeting actually booked, right?
Which is a great segue. You did your job engaging them. You did a better job targeting them. Now it's accelerating the time to demo, accelerating the time to that third call maybe. Maybe it's another demo they want to have, like the next, second, third meeting. Here's a good example. Our friends at 15.5, Kate.
Love 15.5.
I mean, this one is just super slick. It's super conversational. It feels like a conversation you're having with another human, but you're not actually. It's actually a really well-designed chatbot. And the experience is helping you get to the thing that you want and what the business wants. It's a mutual benefit. Again, look at all the ways it helps both parties understand.
I mean, here's the key here too, because I think a lot of people hear this and they think, Yeah, great. But like, I need the data, right? Like, I don't care about, like, fundamentally, I agree with you, Kate. Lots of people say it. Fundamentally, I agree with you, Kate, but I need the data in my system. Like, I need to know who these people are. I need to know this. But like, the thing about this experience is, like, you'll notice this is actually getting more data than you would have with your form, right? It's still getting your email, it's still getting your company, it's still getting the number of employees at that company, but like, it's actually, but it's getting also interest, like an intent, right? And like, your form wasn't getting that before.
Speaking of data, transitioning from this new blueprint, by the way, if you folks have questions of the blueprint, let us know. It's going to come out probably in Q3. We actually have a meeting about this in 10 minutes, Kate. Q3 planning.
Yeah.
Look at this though. I want to just, so there's 2 slides. They say basically the same thing, but conversations are 5x more likely to convert when a human jumps in. So can you just double click on this for us around the conversation development reps you have with Drift, and what's going on with them?
Yeah, I think our objective, right, listen, we're dedicated to conversations. They're kind of our thing. And so the biggest thing that we were trying to achieve was with the conversation development representative team was, how do we enable conversations as quickly as possible? How do we ensure that when the person, and we do this with bots, and we automate a lot of it, but when somebody wants an answer to a question, when they have a question that maybe our bot can't answer, they just need to actually talk to a human, we were committed to making sure we were there. Why? All the underlying data that you saw before, right, is that in a world of tools, the one way that you can differentiate yourself is from the experience that you provide. In a world of software is everywhere, right, your key differentiator is going to be the people who win deals. 75% of deals are won by the person who gets back first. And I can't think of a faster way to get back to you than when you're actually on your website, right? That I'm never actually getting back to you, I'm just getting to you. And so that's the whole premise behind the CDR function. And they are killing it every month with getting ICP booked meetings. So not only do I have human booked meetings and I'm providing an amazing experience to people when they hit our website, but I also have bot booked meetings because people who are just can go through self-service, right? And so it's really accelerating the business significantly.
The best of both worlds. And then 268% are more likely to convert to leads when started from a marketing campaign. So what's interesting about this one is it goes back to level 2 of the blueprint, targeting. So look at, Kate, this is a great example you pulled. Like, hi, white whale. Congrats on making the Inc. 5000. We did this campaign. Like, this is actually something we did. Your team must have some big goals to help you stay on that list and get to an even higher spot, right? So, like, I don't know. What do you have to say about this component?
Yeah, just look at what we're doing here, right? Conceptually, White Whale is the company name here, and so it's like not only am I identifying you, so I'm personalizing your experience. I'm showing that I know where you are from, and then I'm congratulating you based on what just happened inside your business. You just made the Inc. 5000 most successful companies in America. That's incredible, right? Sounds like you got some big goals. To get in an even higher spot, like right? And now I'm engaging. So there's a question there. Humans are automatically tempted to answer questions right off the bat. So we're engaging it, right? Super personalized, like congratulating. So that's almost like what I'd say is like a surprise and delight factor there. And then like trying to engage with you to start a conversation.
I love it. And we got one other example, proof point. ConnectWise just did a customer story with us. This is during the last 8 weeks, Kate, of COVID-19. 500% increase in conversations in the midst of this crisis. So what did Michael do? It's exactly what you just said. Knowing the context of each person's visit help us to get them to the relevant information more quickly, which is good for us and good for the customers.
Yeah, that's an insane story. 500% increase during COVID-19. That's like I know a lot of marketers right now. That's a major dream come true. right? And Michael's just doing all the things that we have just spent the last, 30 minutes talking about here.
And then just to summarize, this is I think what we were hinting at, Kate, as we went through all these examples and we talked about the different levels. But you said adding value is key, giving something to get something, right? It's like the understand, the recommend, back to understand, back to recommend. Leveraging stats, social proof, and testimonials. I think this is just those are 3 great things to do to further someone's understanding of why they should book the meeting now, how you can help them solve their pain. I think it's just really good, some really good best practices, not only for like a conversational experience, but Kate, this could apply to your emails too.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. It applies to all marketing channels for sure.
So we want to help you.
Let us help you. So everybody's always talking about how do we double down on digital? What does that actually look like? What are you doing today? How are you propelling your business to move forward? Listen, this is yes, you can chat with anybody on the team, but Mark and I are always happy to help out, talk to any marketer today, because not only I hope do I provide value on the other side, I get value just in talking about what other people are doing today. We're in a very weird time, and we'd love to chat with you. So thank you so much for the time today. You've given us your most precious gift, right, which is your time, and we really appreciate that. So thank you very much.
Thank you, folks.
All right. Thank you so much, Mark and Kate. I was loving all of the energy today. That was great. We did get some questions, but I think we only have time for one. So I'll just pick the best one as best as I can. But yeah, before I get to it, I'd like to just remind everyone once again to please share your thoughts and feedback before logging off today. You can do so by clicking that survey icon I mentioned earlier. The survey is also going to end as soon as the session ends as well, so just stay tuned for that. And again, just a quick heads up to everyone, if we don't get to your questions today live, we will definitely follow up via email. All right, so just checking in on the time. All right, I think we have time for one really good one. So let's keep it simple. How do we get started? What is the simplest way to get on this conversational marketing bandwagon today?
Okay, what's your
Mark,
take?
you want to take that one? Oh, okay, I'll take it. I love it. I love it. So the simplest way to get started today, so Mark's team created an amazing framework. It follows like a crawl, walk, run perspective of let's just get you started. Let's start to have a conversation, right? That's the quickest way to get started. So let's have a conversation with us or with somebody on the team, and let's talk about, hey, what's your strategy? What's your biggest pain right now? And then we'll dig in and prescribe a plan for you right there. But again, it follows a maturity model for sure. We don't want anybody diving in head first and getting immediately overwhelmed. Let's set you up for success. So our framework is get started, get to success, be able to amplify and tell that story internally to your own business and the stakeholders there. Then let's get to tier 2 success, get you even more successful, right? Our job is to make you guys the champions. And so that's really what we want to do. So that's how to get started.
Read my mind. Talk to us. We'll give you a ton of advice and tips. And the other thing I'd say is take the free conversational marketing certification too. It will teach you all of this too in much more detail.
Awesome. Good stuff. Thank you both. All right. Well, like I said, that's all the time we have for questions. But again, keep them coming. We will definitely follow up via email. Thank you again to Mark and Kate for such an awesome session today. And thank you to all of our attendees for taking the time to join us. Please be sure to join us for our next session. It's called Bridging Physical Events and Digital Experiences. It kicks off at 2 p.m. ET today. I will also be moderating that session, so come hang out with me again. And if not, then have a great rest of your day. Bye, everyone.